Hi there, my name's Jamie Thompson and I'm going to take you through a small little application I've written that demonstrates some of the capabilities of resource scripting in the Live framework. What you're looking at right now is my Live desktop for the Live framework developer CTP, which I'm currently a member of. So as you can see, there isn't much on the desktop right now. I have a folder and an application, neither of which are relevant to what I'm talking about here. If I go to the next tab, I've got a list of all the recent tweets by a guy called Barack Obama, who you may have heard of. I'm going to switch over to Visual Studio and hit F11 on this and step into the code on this small little console application. Okay, so it's asking me for a Twitter username. I'm going to use Barack Obama. Going through that. How many number of tweets do I want to fetch? I'll just pick 5 for now. Now I've stepped over that particular statement there. What I actually did is has gone out to the internet and got a list of the five most recent tweet IDs. Those are the IDs that uniquely identify a particular tweet, and the 5 most recent ones by Barack Obama. So if I hover over that, see I've got an array with 5 items in there, and those are all ID numbers, and we'll come back to how we use them in a little bit. So now I'm going to step into this method which actually does all the work. And the first thing we need to do is actually create a mesh object resource. Now, a mesh object resource is the thing which it will exist on our desktop. So I'm going to scroll into that a little bit. Hopefully you can see. I can select it. All going wrong. There we go. That's the code which actually creates a mesh object resource. And the next part actually creates a data feed within that resource. I'll explain these things a little bit more in the accompanying blog post. But for now, all you need to know is that's creating a script that will create a mesh object and a feed within that mesh object. Okay, so that's done. Now, in order to create a resource script within the Live framework, we need to basically create a list of these things called statements. So the first thing I do is set up a list that's going to hold these statements. I'm going to have a URI which points to the root of all my mesh objects. If I hover over that, you should be able to see that URI is pointing to the developer mesh instance and the mesh objects within that instance. I'm going to add a statement to my list of statements that actually will create the mesh object resource. So that's the folder which will hold all the tweets. So that's done. The next one will create a statement. It's a statement that will create a resource which is a data feed within that mesh folder. So that's done. If I hover over chart statements, see we've got 2 guys in there. One for creating a mesh object and another one for creating my feed. Okay. Now next bit, I need to loop over my list of tweets, which is that there. And for each one of those tweets, I'm going to create what we call a media resource. And all that essentially is a file what we're going to put into that mesh folder. So here we go, I'll loop over this. I'm going to go through it 5 times because there are 5 tweets. Okay. So in each case what we did was take the URI of each of those tweets. Each of those tweets is a resource of its own accord, and add them all to our list of statements. As you can see now we've got 7 statements in our list. What we're going to do is take that list of statements, convert it to an array, and put that into a sequence. A sequence is something that we can compile into a script. So if I hit F11 on that, we now have basically a sequence which is a list of all those statements that we created. hit F11 again, we'll call the compile method. So we now have a compiled script which we can execute against the live operating environment. So here we go. So that script is now executing against the live operating environment. We're going to wait for it to come back. Okay, and if I go back to my live desktop, we should see a new folder has been created in here. If we open it up, there are 5 files in there. If I open the top one, it's an XML file, and the text of it is, "We just made history. All of this happened because you gave your time, talent and passion. All of this happened because of you. Thanks." And if we go back to Obama's Twitter feed, we can see that's exactly what his last tweet was, and we can see it right there. Okay, that's basically it. I hope that's been useful. Any questions, let me know.